Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to my channel, and this video is about FCPS 1 preparation in ophthalmology and how to crack the exam in the first go. Now, to crack any exam in the first go, I think the key is to take your time and do not rush. For example, my house job ended in July of 2023, 31st July 2023, and I gave my exam in August of 2024. Apparently, I was supposed to give like either the November attempt or the Feb attempt or the May attempt, but due to some reasons, like I could not give November attempt because I the registration date had closed and I did not have the license, and during the month of December I was traveling, so I thought that I cannot give, like I was not prepared for the Feb attempt, and I did not give the May attempt due to some reason as well. So yeah, but I took that time to study on and off. Like I was in touch with the books. I used to study long books. Those were not very long, like BRS Physio or Kaplan Neuroanatomy, but in the last 3 months that led to the exam, May, June, July, my preparation was very much focused. For example, I only did FCPS oriented books like Rafula, Rami's Ophthalmology, and SK, and a few chapters of AA notes. So this video is about how I prepared for the exam, and alhamdulillah how I managed to pass it in the first go. Now, failure is not a bad thing. If you have failed or if you're trying again, that more power to you. But I think that when you're stuck in a situation and you find yourself trying again and again, uh, what happens is that it leads to demotivation, demoralization, and also I feel that it's also a waste of time and money, and you feel frustrated, and it just leads to, it doesn't feel good, right? So just take your time and prepare thoroughly, and only then give your exam, because usually people think that they can study for 15 days or 20 days and then they can pass the exam. So I think that's a bit that's not a right strategy. I think that's not a way to go for this exam. So yeah, don't give vague attempts, first of all. Now, second point that I want to highlight is that we usually end up studying theory books. For example, the mistake I was committing initially when I was preparing, and then when the time to register came, I felt that I am not prepared enough, was that I was studying long books. Like I used to study Kaplan, Pathoma, BRS Physio. But what you're going to basically do in the exam is that you're going to attempt questions. So why not go for the questions? Like, give your time, obviously take your time to study theory as well, but there are people who are only doing questions and they're still passing the exam. So I believe that the best way to study for this exam is to do questions, because a major chunk in the exam comes from the past papers, right? So now I'm going to tell you how to begin. Okay, so now you have to start from Rafula points. It's a big book, so first of all, just divide that book into the points and MCQ portion. And the MCQ portion has a lot of mistakes, so you can skip that entire portion and only stick to the points. Now, those points, when you open them for the first time, they will look like all over the place. For example, in one point he's covering cardiac cycle, and the next point is covering ECG, and so on and so forth. But those points are the key to crack FCPS, and they are must to do at least twice. So when you will be studying those points for the first time, you will take, obviously you will take, for example, 40 days. And initially I was also finding it hard to memorize all those points, but I found a channel. It was suggested by a colleague of mine. The channel is called Dr. Hamza. So he also has a course which most people take, but I did not take the course. He has uploaded many videos for free, and I used to watch those videos of live lectures and recorded lectures. And I used to watch a video from his channel. For example, I watched a video of a CVS and then I would go through the points, or sometimes there were some live lectures uploaded for free. So I would, for example, for general pathology, I watched the entire lecture and I would go through the book as well at the same time, and then I would read it myself. So remember that repetition is the key. First, go through the entire book in detail. Do not cram any point. Okay, understand, get the concept, understand each and every single thing, and complete the points in 30 to 40 days. Okay, and then the second read will be a quick read in 10 to 15 days. And also start doing MCQs after the first read. I did last 3 SKs, 16, 17 mini, 17 volume 2, and 18 was the latest by then, and I think now it's 19th. So I did last 3 volumes of SK and roughly points twice. After the first read, when you'll do SK, it will get a lot easier. You can also do SK with Dr. Hamza videos. I think he is a great teacher. He literally helps you memorize every single MCQ. Most people do SK for like 3-4 times. I did it once complete, and second time only the questions that I got wrong. So yeah, I did SK 17 once with him, 17 mini I guess, and volume 2, and then I did SK 16 and SK 18 to assess myself, and I usually got like 88, 90, 85, sometimes maybe in 70s in my first go of SK. And then I watched neuroanatomy videos. If you have any junior who's preparing for USMLE, then they might have Captain neuroanatomy videos. Sadly, the link I used to download those videos, the videos have been removed from there now. Otherwise, I would have provided that link as well. Other than that, I think the neuroanatomy chapter for ophthalmology exam, that is the neuroanatomy chapter in Rafiola, is more than enough if you can thoroughly read it and absorb it. Okay, so Rafi is done. 2 reads of Rafi are, I think, more than enough, and if you feel that you're forgetting some points, then you can like go through for the 3rd time, but I think 2 times is enough. And SK, last 3 volumes are mandatory, but if you don't have time, then last 2 volumes are okay. Like there are people who did only last 2 volumes and they also pass the exam. But I think the practice of MCQs is something that is mandatory. You should never skip the past papers for this exam or any other postgraduate exam, I think. Okay, now comes the paper 2. Paper 2, there's only one book that you need to crack paper 2. There were people who told me that you have to study Snell's ocular anatomy. No, you don't need to study Snell's ocular anatomy. You do not need to study even the whole Kaplan book, because the Kaplan neuroanatomy videos, there are 4 videos of 4 hours each. Those videos are more than enough. Even if you cannot, even if you do not have time to study neuroanatomy videos or the neuroanatomy book, then I think the Rafiola chapter is more than enough, because obviously no one is going to ask you the entire pathway. They are going to ask you about where is the lesion, and that is covered in the MCQs, that is covered even in the Rafiola book. So always study. When you have less time, always study according to the exam. Like you don't need to memorize the entire spinothalamic tract, but what the lesion is going to do, you just need to know that. Okay, so the Ramesh Ophthalmology, get the latest edition of the Ramesh Ophthalmology book. Study it at least 3 times theory and 2 times the entire there are 35, I think 35 past papers in that book. So I did those 35 past papers twice complete, and 3rd time only the marked ones. And the theory portion I did for like 3 times. Some people say that do at least 5 times. I did it 3 times. If you think that you are good to go, then I think 3 times is fine. And if you have more time or you feel that you need to revise more, then you can go for the 4th or 5th read as well. But I think 3 is minimum. After that, I Okay, there is a book called Tanveer Notes, which is not something mandatory, but if you have like the last 2-3 days maybe, then there is a chapter of extreme repeats. So extreme repeats are the questions that are frequently asked in the exam. If you have time or a night before exam, you can go through that chapter as well. So this is the focused preparation, Rafula, points twice, last 3 SKs. If you can do more SKs, then it's good for you. Neuroanatomy videos. Head and neck anatomy is very important for your eye exam. You can skip the entire portion of gross anatomy even from the Rafula book, or the entire portion that comes in, for example, double A. But yeah, you can skip gross anatomy because gross anatomy is never asked in the ophthalmology exam. However, I still did it because I did not want to leave any stone unturned. So I did I did all the MCQs of like gross anatomy that were present in past papers. Like I did not skip any specialty exam. I did all specialties of SK, all specialties, all gross anatomy chapters in Rafula as well. But if you don't have time, you can skip that portion. Other than that, for example, head and neck anatomy and neuroanatomy, they're very important for ophthalmology papers. So you can, what you can do is you can practice the MCQs from AA notes. And for example, if you find any chapter hard, for example, CVS is a bit hard, renal medicine is hard. Other than that, endo is also, I think, a little hard. All the hormones often get mixed up, so you can practice all the difficult chapters from AA. If you have more time, then you can practice every single chapter from AA, but usually I would recommend that you use AA to practice all the difficult questions. And yeah, I think you're good to go. About theory, I would say that there are people who did not study theory books at all and still passed. First, it is such a long book, you don't need to study that book, because who is going to study such a big book and actually you know, like remember it? So you can skip the entire first 8. If you find BRS Physio a little dry because it is dry, you can skip that book as well. However, I read it once in Feb, but my exam was in August, so I don't think so if it was that helpful. However, I studied Kaplan neuroanatomy and watched the neuroanatomy videos, so I would recommend that. And just do Rafula SK Ramis ophthalmology again and again, and you're good to go, and inshallah you will pass the exam. Do not burden yourself with a lot of books. Study, you know, like 2-3 books, but study them again and again. Always remember that repetition is the key, and last month of your preparation should be, you know, like you should keep that month for revision. So yeah, inshallah you will pass the exam. Best of luck, and remember me in your prayers if my advice helps you. Thank you.